And this story has been brought to you by racism. Racism is accepted wherever true Americans are. An 81-year-old Ohio man has been charged in the fatal shooting of an Uber driver he believed was working with a scammer. William Brock stated to investigators that he took the life of Lolitha Hall, age 61, outside of his home on March 25th because he thought she was working with a man who called him pretending to be an officer at a local court. Quote, Mr. Brock received some scam call by a person purporting to be someone from our courts who informed him a family member was incarcerated and that he had to bond out a significant amount of money. The call turned from I'm an officer in the court to we have the subject hostage and this is ransom demands. The person who called Brock or an accomplice requested an Uber ride to his South Charleston home to pick up the money. Miss Hall didn't have any idea what was about to happen. When Hall arrived at the home and approached the front door, Brock, with a weapon in hand, confronted her and asked her who she was working for. He took her cell phone and prevented her from getting into her vehicle and driving away. Quote, when she tried to get away, he shot her once. Then there was more exchange between them. Mr. Brock was at some point injured or had an injury to his head. And then he shot Mrs. Hall a second time. There was more conversation. And then he shot her a third time. Only after he shot her a third time did he then make contact with authorities to report the incident. Hall did not threaten Brock, have a weapon, or assault him. She was taken to a hospital where she later passed from her injuries. In a statement, Uber stated that the company had spoken with Hall's family. Quote, this is a horrific tragedy and our hearts continue to be with Lolitha's loved ones as they grieve. We have been in contact with law enforcement and remain committed to supporting their investigation. The Uber spokesperson stated that the account of the person who ordered a car to Brock's house has been banned. Officials have not identified the person who requested the Uber and have not said whether they have made any additional arrests in connection with the case. In a grand jury presentation on Monday, Brock was indicted on 3 counts of murder, 1 count of felonious assault, and 1 count of kidnapping. He will be arraigned on those charges later on this week. Brock was originally arraigned on a murder charge in the municipal court of Clark County on Wednesday and posted a $200,000 bond. If convicted of that charge, he could be sentenced to 15 years to life in prison or a $15,000 fine.
Crosses Dolly Varden in Columbus, Cincinnati, getting a report of a female that has been shot. She's laying in the driveway. It's going to be a black female laying in the driveway and the leg, possibly somewhere else as well. Still getting further. Deputies have been dispatched, not on scene yet.
Units going to South Charleston Clifton Road. It sounds like the caller shot the female. She's shot in the leg and the shoulder.
Badge 95 on scene. 95 on scene.
Madison Township, additional tones for a gunshot wound victim at 7072 South Charleston Clifton Road. 7072 South Charleston Clifton Road, crosses Dolly Varden and Columbus Cincinnati Road. Have a female laying in the driveway here, has gunshot wounds, 1 in the leg, another possibly. Still getting further. Deputies are en route. I have a single unit in Medic 778 en route as well.
I just want to start off by saying my condolences to the family. Again, this is something that should have never have taken place at all, but it did. And in the gifts that I formulated for you guys in the very beginning, you could see the elder walking directly from her car and going directly to the house. And then just as quickly as she was going to the house, she was walking directly back with the Caucasian male carrying his firearm directly on him and aiming it in her direction. And obviously off camera, she ended up losing her life. The one thing that I want to highlight is the fact that there is zero remorse, there is zero empathy, there is zero soul when you look directly at the man who took her life, which is William Brock. You almost see him ecstatic and happy at what took place. And this is his mugshot. He looks very, very happy. He looks, very calm. He doesn't look like a person that, in a sense, made a mistake or believes that he made a mistake. He could have very easily called 911. He could have called for the authorities. He could have called for Earth's mightiest heroes, but he opted not to do that. Like most true Americans, he was like, well, I got my right to carry and my right to bear arms and to defend myself from anybody foreign and domestic. And I'm going to decide to take that initiative at this moment in time, starting with this black female Uber driver. And again, they did state directly in the article that yes, they had some individuals from wherever around the world that, in a sense, started this whole thing. One, called the Uber, right? The people trying to get the money. And then second was by way of William Brock. Uber stated that they closed down the account. That's great. Kudos to you guys closing down the account. How about you actually do some due diligence and you trace who these people are? I'm not sure if you can use a gift card in order to get a free Uber ride, but something needs to be tracked down. I don't know why it is that every single time something like this happens, Uber or any of these car businesses, they were like, oh, well, we made sure to ban this person so that this can never happen ever again. No, you guys need to do some internal detective working. You guys need to release the names or the name of the individual who did this, because I'm pretty sure that even if it's a debit prepaid card, there's a name that is attached and associated directly with that debit prepaid card. There just is. There has to be. For these individuals to be able to cause such issue, such emotional damage, somebody needs to be taking all of the time. And one of those people, or a multitude of those people, have to do with that original group. Realistically, for me, the way that I look at this situation is that I feel as though that this was some type of setup in order to do some type of let's say, a initiation or something or other, because the look on his face, it speaks vastly different than what I would see or understand somebody who ended up taking a life. Acting way different too, nonchalant, looking a little bit too happy directly in that jail picture or that, what have you. Like I said, I can't even get my words together because, looking at how this event took place, this could have, very easily been somebody in my family. This could have very easily been a woman in my family deciding that, hey, I want to make a little bit of, extra money. So let me decide to do Uber and Lyft and, see how that goes. You know, and this is another reason why I've stated to people before that at any given moment in time, make sure to hug your kids. Make sure to hug your family members, or even if you can't hug them, just call them up. Maybe they're halfway across the map somewhere. Make sure you get in contact with them. Make sure you at least talk to them. Let them know that, you love them a lot, that you really care about them, because, anything out here can realistically happen. Anything out here can realistically happen. You literally had a woman minding her business, just working, and she stumbled upon this. And because she answered the call, she inevitably ended up getting her life taken because she was set up by outside forces. But again, at the end of the day, this is America. A lot of individuals would, never crack a tear or any type of emotional sadness or any type of empathy when, dealing with things such as this, especially, again, taking somebody's life. So again, my condolences to her family, because, this was something that just should not have happened.